apparently.
They're the size of potatoes.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. The We Can't Wrestle podcast viewers, listeners, what have you. Welcome to the Sports Entertainment Show. We don't have a name for it yet. Kyle and I were talking earlier, Archie, and well, let me get to this, people. If you watched the last episode, is Pro Wrestling Dead, which is also episode 99 of the podcast. You know that I am not calling this wrestling anymore. I have accepted that it is sports entertainment. And I told these guys, since doing that, since saying, you know what, it's sports entertainment. It's not, I don't get angry anymore. I watch it and I go, you know what, it is what it is, because I'm not trying to compare it to wrestling anymore. It's sports entertainment.
Right.
I'm not going, God, it was so much better 20 years ago, because it doesn't matter. This is a completely different business. So we're going to change the name of this show and put sports entertainment in the title instead of wrestle. However, what we're going to do is I'm going to get the admins together. We're going to come up with 5 or 6 names and then let you, the viewers and listeners, vote on what the new name of our live show will be. Normally Sunday nights at 10:30, but my work schedule has been kind of a bitch this week, so we're doing a special Tuesday night edition of the show. Now that I've blathered on for minutes, Archie,
is good though because we get a chance to actually watch Raw and catch up with SmackDown, and if there's a review, so it wasn't bad. But since I was being Vince Russo before we went on the air, maybe we should name it Sports Entertainment Extra, but instead of an E, just make it an X.
Sports Entertainment Triple Extra.
And then it'll be... Yeah, there you go. I like it. Sports Entertainment Triple Extra.
Jesus.
So I'll write that one down.
What's up, Chris?
What was... Tell everybody what your idea was, Kyle.
My idea, guys, was the fact that if you look at our podcast, it's the We Can't Wrestle, which is tongue-in-cheek WCW. So I thought it'd be funny if we named the live show the We Watch Entertainment.
The WWE. Or it could even be We Watch Fuckery, WWF.
Yeah, like We Watch Fuckery, too.
We just got to be careful with merchandise so we don't get our ass kicked by pandas like Vince did.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to the show, Mr. Chris.
Well, thank you.
We're just going to be bullshitting here. I have notes from the shows from last week. I have not, because of work. I haven't got to see last night's Raw, which I heard the Orton Edge Christian segment was cool. That's all I've heard so far.
So see, I didn't even know that. So yeah,
they had a peep show apparently.
Like I told you in the group chat, like I am stupid behind on the product right now.
Chris, I wish I was, because I watch it so up to current date. I get angry with it.
The thing is, I want to, and then when I get ready to like sit down, because I'll binge watch it, when I sit down and I get ready, I'm like, no.
Right.
Andrew
like
Janelle.
I have the DVR remote in my hand, and I pull up the list, and I'm like, oh God, that's a lot of fucking wrestling.
Yeah, Grey's Anatomy.
That's a lot of sports entertainment, is what you mean.
Oh yeah,
Chris.
that's a lot of sports entertainment. I'm like, oh wait, I'll just binge watch some more TV shows from my HBO Max.
By the way, Kendall and I watched the entirety of Space Force in one day earlier this week. Very good. Yeah? I highly recommend it. Space Force is funny as hell.
We'll have to check it out.
I'm a huge fan of Big Bang Theory, and Big Bang, the whole series, is HBO Max.
Oh, okay.
HBO Max started the 15th. I just finished watching all 12 seasons now. That's all I've been doing. Between that and like pain meds, watch my show, pass out from pain meds, remember what episode I was on and rewind it.
My wife put it on by mistake one night, and I'm like, I'm not going to like this because I heard this guy Sheldon is like really annoying, and I have friends like this, so I don't want to see that. And then I watched like 3 episodes in a row, and I went, shit, this is the greatest thing ever. They're nerds. I didn't know that they were nerds. They're nerds. They're like me.
I didn't watch it for the longest time until when I was working at GameStop. We had like the same, like what was it, like 10 clips?
Okay.
Yeah.
In our in-store loop video, and I just like memorized them, and it was like it was just funny. I was like, okay, I'll check the show out.
I have to see what these clips lead to.
I've been on a Stargate kick.
Andrew Janowski,
really?
really quick. Andrew Janowski commented, Vince is in the entertainment business, not the wrestling business. Exactly, Andrew, and so
That
is
is
the rest
true.
of the business right
He
now.
used to be in the football business, but yeah, well.
Yeah,
Twice.
that's been
Twice
now. Yeah. Hi, and Bryant Winters is here. He says hi to everybody. Hey,
What's
Bryant.
up, Brian?
How you doing,
Winters?
buddy?
He was also in the bodybuilding business. He's made bad movies and a lot of other dumb shit.
I'm one of those weird guys. Like, I find quite a few of the WWE films, movies, not that bad.
I don't mind See No Evil. See No Evil was pretty good.
Exactly. See No Evil was great.
And you know what?
What was the one that Austin was in?
The Condemned.
That was pretty decent.
That was decent.
They
weren't gonna let
Austin.
They weren't gonna let Austin get a shitty script anyway. You know, like the, they passed on a few.
The one with Big Show is pretty funny too.
Knucklehead.
Yeah, Knucklehead. That one's pretty damn good. I ain't gonna lie. But
has anybody watched the Big Show?
No, I haven't.
I tried. I struggled through it. It's the best way to describe it. Remember TGIF?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It would have fit in back then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's good, but not for now.
Right.
Right.
That makes sense.
Mid-90s, it would have fit in perfect.
If it would have been like 20, 30 years ago, the show would have been great. It probably would have been on the TGIF lineup.
The Big Show featuring Urkel. Did I do that? Like that kind of a deal?
Well, the weird thing that bugs me with the Big Show is it's supposed to be him like in private life and he's married and kids and all this. His wife, the entire series, never calls him Paul. It's always Show. Why is your own wife calling you Show?
Yeah, why are we kayfabing our household in 2020?
Right.
Oh God. Okay, so.
But they brought in a lot of other fun guys like Mick and Mark Henry and Kishi are on an episode with them, and it's great.
Oh, really?
Because it's their anniversary, and they're doing like it's supposed to be his anniversary, but there's also like a cruise show, and he decides to take for their anniversary. He takes her with him on the work cruise, and she's getting pissed. And Kishi and Mick and Henry are all like, "Are you stupid? Why did you bring her to work?"
Real quick, before we get into the sports entertainment talk,
Hi, buddy.
Hi, buddy. I want to encourage everyone right now, if you have not seen it in a long time, or for those fans who've never seen it, go back and watch Starrcade 83. Piper versus Valentine in the dog collar match.
Good match.
If you truly believe that Kenny Omega versus Moxley was like, the greatest street fight with full blood and guts and everything else, you haven't seen anything until you've seen this match.
No, and the psychology of it. There's so many gimmick matches now where you have cells and you have. And we had cages, but I'm just saying the. Okay, let's just use as an example that the Hell in a Cell match with Seth Rollins and The Fiend. Okay, and everybody knows I like The Fiend gimmick. I like Bray Wyatt. He's one of my favorites in the business. However, look at the amount of shit and the amount of gimmicks and the amount of fuckery used in that match and the lack of psychology. And then
I don't think you can use that Hell in a Cell as any type of comparison, considering
it ended
the lighting the lighting isn't what people shit on that match about as much as the fact that it's Hell in a Cell and it was a no contest for the second year in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But the point I was making was to what Kyle was saying about that dog collar match. A simple chain with two collars on either end of it. And Greg Valentine and Roddy Piper, the psychology they had.
Right.
They used that thing to perfection. That's one of those matches that I will say is probably one of the top 25 perfect. You can't find anything wrong with that match.
No.
The way Piper sells the ear, it's all so well done.
I've always heard of wrestling being called the dance, and they danced well together. It was the
Yes.
perfect back and forth as it should have been.
My favorite, like my absolute favorite part of that is the match is great, but the build up where Roddy Piper's talking about, I went to a shoemaker to have this made. Like, it's not like, oh, it was just here, like WWE.
Yeah, it's just under the ring.
Right.
It's
Yeah, just bought it for you guys. No, he went and fucking got this made specifically for Greg Valentine. It's like, that's good shit.
And honestly, as far as like the Omega Moxley match, was it really that great, or did it get more of a rub because with today's stipulations and regulations, it was more of a taboo than an actual good match?
Exactly.
Mhm.
You showed modern fans who haven't seen something like that, something they've never seen before, and they went, "Ooh, pretty."
I mean, I'm not trying to take away from them at all. I mean, obviously,
They killed
no
themselves.
matter how much.
It wasn't great.
But the thing is, that's what I'm saying. Is it hyped up because the degree of violence we haven't seen? Probably the most recent would have been like ECW, that was even taboo underground for their time.
Right.
Mhm.
So was the Moxley Omega thing really top notch? Oh my God, violence, or was it just because the fans of today were like, oh?
When I first watched that match, Chris, I thought, wow, this is everything it needs to be. It's great. They're killing themselves. This is a great match. I went back and watched it and went, wow, this is overly extreme just for the sake of being extreme. So if you're seeing it for the first time, you're like, yeah. And then as it ages, it doesn't age well.
I can't. I don't know. I know it gets old me saying these things.
Your opinion is void because the word Omega came up. So you're
right.
Even I mean, just the fact that he was in the match ruined it for me because he doesn't even sell that stuff effectively.
I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for a Cage Omega feud now. That way that we can watch them get confused. That's all I want.
All right.
I want to see fans back in the arena and them start doing the Terminator clap and both of them going, huh?
We'll call that the what the hell in a cell match.
A perfect series of matches. If you want to talk about building to, the perfect crescendo, to me is in 2000 from the Royal Rumble to No Way Out, because you have Triple H who's beating the shit out of Mick Foley with Mankind. He turns into Cactus Jack. They have a street fight, and it's a perfect reason to have a street fight.
Right.
And then they go to the Hell in a Cell because it's like you just had a street fight and there's still a question,
right,
of who was the better man. So that's the problem here today. It's like we just have matches when it's like with Moxley and Omega. It's like, okay, yeah, they don't like each other, but did it warrant to have that?
They only had one match, right? There was no other match after that. It's not like they had a feud afterwards.
Yeah, like that should be the tail end of a feud, like a 6-7 month long.
We don't have those anymore.
We were live this past Saturday with Kevin Nash, and it was an amazing time. He told great stories, but the thing that he mentioned the most, and he tried to bring home, there are no more feuds that last. Even when In Your House was incepted and they started doing the monthly pay-per-views, you would start at In Your House 4, let's say, and you'd get to In Your House 7, and you've already had 4 matches against the same guy, a tag match, a 6-man tag match, a singles match, a best 2 out of 3 falls, and then you get to the big pay-per-view, SummerSlam or Survivor Series or wherever you were leading up to for the big blow-off of the feud, and it ended perfectly. That one guy moved on to a title match, and the other guy moved on to another feud, hoping to make it better. We don't have that in today's wrestling.
And we just spent 10 minutes proving my point that I keep making. This isn't wrestling anymore. This is sport. It's sports entertainment. It's weekly cable television. It's an action series on television. That's what it is.
Let me ask you a question, Nate, and this question is to Chris and to Kyle as well. We all love movies. If we watched the movie Back to the Future Part 1 when it first came out, and
your cat is singing its song.
My cat loves Archie's voice, apparently.
We watched Part 1. Now Part 2 is getting ready to come out, and Part 2 is the same movie because it wasn't. They actually go into the future this time. And then now we watch part 2 and we go, okay, it was similar but not bad. But then we get to part 3 and it's the same damn movie again. We'd be pissed.
Yeah.
My point is that's what wrestling has been. It's the
So
same.
kind of
It's
like
not the same.
the Hangover trilogy. The Hangover trilogy has been perfect.
Right.
Movie 1 and movie 2 was the exact same movie. They just changed the background.
Right.
For everybody wondering, Nate's cat's behind plexiglass right now.
Social distanced. David Gold commented, problem is there's no larger than life guys that tell great stories. So if you have 5 straight months of the same matches, fans will get more bored and tune out. And that's a great point. But the problem is if you could, the problem comes back to if you told the story properly, you could still catch people's interest. I mean, look at some of the better TV shows on TV. They'll spend a season telling us one story, and we're captivated.
Give us the climax at the end of it. We might have to wait till the next season to see what happens.
Mm-hmm. WWE is written by a clusterfuck of writers trying to write to an artist or to an audience of one, Vince McMahon.
Right.
AEW is booked by. The problem with AEW that I find, and I, again, like I've said a few times lately, I really do enjoy their product now. It's grown on me, but the problem is that they have no one voice. So it's like watching each show. It's just so segmented and
but
doesn't.
In a way, but to back what you just said though, WWE is catering to an audience of one. So is AEW and their chaotic anarchy type schematic due to the fact that they're trying so hard to not be like the E that caters to the audience of one.
Well,
are they trying to buck the WWE guide outline to the point that it's almost detrimental to them?
I'll watch that show, and here's what I'll say: I'll watch that show, and it's a 2-hour show, and every week I will see an hour of this is. Okay, this is moving forward. This is, most of the Cody stuff has been great. The MJF stuff, obviously. And then I see another hour of the show that is like, it's like, if WWE is bad, this is a parody of WWE. And once they find their voice, by the way, Jeremy Cotton says Archie Mitchell loves the climax.
I saw it. Thank you, Jeremy.
So,
yeah.
my problem is, and I have. Me and Nathan have this argument every day of the week. I happen to love the Elite. I love Cody. I love the Young Bucks. I love Kenny Omega.
Mm-hmm.
But my problem is I see if WWE is trying to cater to one, I feel that those 4 guys and add in Adam Page and other guys that are part of the Elite, they're trying to cater to themselves. So you got 7 guys going, dude, what would make a good match tonight? What if Cody went up against Jungle Boy? Dude, that would be awesome. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
So they're trying to cater that they all get in on the show, but then mix in a few younger talents so this way they at least give the rub to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And like Nate, like you said, MJF has been great, Jungle Boy has been great, Cody's been great, but then you have a segment with like Lance Archer where he's beating somebody up in a field and Jake the Snake is even scared of him. What did that mean?
Mm-hmm.
What is that leading to? You know what I mean? Where are we going with this?
We have a 5th host tonight in this fucking cat. All right. So I don't think we'll harp on many of the TV shows other than I want to talk about In Your House, and I definitely want to talk about last week's AEW to cover at least a WWE and an AEW thing, because a lot of SmackDown and Raw. I mean, I don't know. Do you guys have anything about SmackDown and Raw going on right now that you want to discuss really quick?
If you can get a chance to watch Drew Gulak versus AJ Styles, watch it.
It was very good.
Everything else,
yeah,
except for maybe 5 minutes of AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan having their promo against each other, because the first 20 minutes of it is just them going back and forth, going, "You're a pussy. No, you're a pussy. No, you're a pussy." Oh, well, in a PG world. And as far as Raw goes, the Edge segment was great with Christian and Randy Orton. Zelina Vega looked amazing, and the Viking Raiders. Alistair does agree, and the Viking Raiders versus Street Profits stuff is still great. It's still hilarious.
Yes.
Nothing. I could say nothing else good about those shows, though.
What is it? It's coming up. Backlash. Is that what?
Backlash? Yes.
What does it tell you that we're all fans and we're questioning each other on what the next show is.
What's the next?
That should tell you something right there.
I hate to say it, but I don't know about you guys, but I just could care less about Backlash.
Yeah, it's a pay-per-view that they got rid of.
I could obviously care less because what did I say? I was like 4 to 5 weeks behind on shit.
Yeah, right.
They say, the Edge versus Orton is going to be the greatest wrestling match ever.
Really?
It's like,
really,
God, you know exactly what it's going to be.
I have a feeling Christian's going to turn on Edge.
Probably.
After what happened on Raw. And I have this strange feeling he's going to come back, and it's going to be, you took my spotlight because when you left, they made me leave. Which would be a great storyline if they let them do it the right way.
But the thing is, Christian's never going to get a proper rub because, well, Vince don't like him. Vince never has liked him.
Right.
And
Christian
don't get me wrong,
stayed in TNA.
I love Edge and I love Christian. They're great, and it's great to see Edge back. I'd like to see the Edge is back and he's getting a second chance, but do we really need to have Christian back?
Well, Christian is on backstage, so he's still a part of the product. He's not.
And I understand that, but
anywhere. But yeah, you're
look
right.
at all the
there was
talent
no
you
reason
have.
to use him. Right.
But how bad does it look that we haven't seen Christian until Edge showed back up?
Well, that's nepotism. That they do it. Everybody felt that way. You know, I'm sure everybody did.
You know, we're going to talk about In Your House here in a few minutes.
Once Nate gets
back in here. But I got to tell you,
I think Nate's calling a Korean food franchise about the cat because he can't handle it anymore.
That's not.
Well, he's probably. I didn't say he was getting rid of the cat. He's probably just asking them for tips on silencing it.
That's funny.
Fair enough.
Because his wife would probably sell him to the
Who
Dahmer
invited John
party.
Majewski in here?
John.
Who invited John Majewski in here? Get out of here, John.
Real quick, while we're waiting for Nate to get back and doing what he's doing, Archie, I think this is a great time. Let's plug some World Championship Customs. Let's talk about the meet and greets.
This Saturday in the Asylum, the Virtual Asylum, the World Championship Customs, the Nerd Closet here on We Can't Wrestle podcast. We will be hosting a meet and greet virtual show with the one and only, the homicidal, suicidal, genocidal Sabu, former ECW champion, World Tag Team champion, World Television champion, was in both WWF and WCW, and then in the reformed ECW again. He's been in TNA all over the world and is one of the most extreme men in the world. My favorite Sabu moment was that I watched him in a match, fell down on the table, broke his arm, literally told the referee, I broke my arm, grabs duct tape, wraps his arm up into his shoulder, and continues the match for another 20 minutes. And as a kid, I'm like, what the fuck's going on here?
Right. You watch him in those barbed wire matches.
Yeah.
And he just gets caught. And you see it rip the flesh in his tights and everything. And you're just like,
right.
Oh my God. Like,
and then he would walk backstage and put super glue in the wound and go to the hospital. So it would close up.
Yeah.
You know? So we're going to have him live and in person this Saturday at 6 p.m. Anyone who would like an 8x10 autograph and a meet and greet with him, come on down at 6 p.m. We have a lot of guys in line already, but we can definitely fit you in.
And if you guys don't get in, like with a lot of these last couple shows, like with Kevin Nash and stuff, I know the demand's high, and you may not be able to get into the queue and everything else, but still at least watch it because they're going to have a lot of great stories.
Some of the stories Kevin Nash said I can't repeat because we might get sued. As it is, we talked about a certain someone that he talked about that we could still get sued by. Although that did get cut off. You remember, Kyle?
Yes.
That part of the podcast got cut off. But Kevin Nash had us in stitches, but also had us in a very serious conversation about the business. When we were speaking to Jim Duggan, you saw so much love and compassion for this business in his eyes and his words. Buff Bagwell was a blast. I mean, it's Buff Bagwell, so of course you're hearing party stories and great things that he's done on the road.
Right.
We've got Road Warrior Animal coming up. We've got the Nasty Boys coming up. We've got the Bushwhacker Luke and Typhoon. And just announced a couple of days ago, in August, we have Diamond Dallas Page coming up.
That's going to be cool.
So
I mean,
I'm
That'll
going
be
to see if
fun.
he'll do it. I'm going to see if he'll do a quick DDP yoga session with us during the live, but I don't know if he'll want to give it away for free. So,
I mean, with the DDP, to hear the stories with Jake and stuff and everything else, and with Scott Hall, I mean, guys, seriously, like I said, the prices are not ridiculous for this stuff. And
no, not at all. Not at all.
Especially when you consider, like we've said before, if you go to a con to see him, you're going to pay for parking, you're going to pay for a con pass, you're going to pay for everything else. You're not paying all that stuff.
For 30 seconds of that guy saying hi, your name,
yeah,
and thank
exactly.
you for coming out.
And at these cons, after you pay all those additional fees, you're going to wait in line while he's sitting at a table. And because there's such a long line at a table, when you get up there, he's going to say hi. If you paid the amount of money for a picture, a photo op, and an autograph, you'll get like maybe 53 seconds. So you can either lean across the table or hurry up and shuffle around the table for a quick pose, and then you're on your way. These formats that these guys are doing, it's not like that.
No. And I want to say a big thank you to Archie and the rest of the Asylum podcast and everybody else for putting this on, taking everything, all the long hours that it takes to get this stuff set up.
Once again, I say I am strictly a soldier that is willing to work for his leaders. And without David Gold, Rocky Turner, Nick Francis, this would not be possible because they're making the connections. They're speaking to these guys and they're doing what needs to be done. And then when they tell me, hey, it's time to go to work, I go to work. That's all that it comes down to, because it's the love of this business. That's why we're doing it. We see these guys sitting at home with nowhere to make money, nowhere to get to meet their fans, no way to be at an independent show or a con. Why not give them an opportunity from the comfort of their own home to actually do what they love doing?
Absolutely.
That was great. We got to hear Kevin Nash talk about what his wife was cooking him for dinner, and it sounded delicious. I wanted to go to Kevin Nash's house and eat.
Kevin Nash is one of those guys. He's very cultured. Like, he'll sit there with a glass of wine and
right. Well, he was having salmon.
He'll take a sip of wine right after he punches you in the face for being an asshole.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
He'll just be like, "Bap."
We were worried. We thought, what if somebody comes off his route to him? I mean, granted, it's a live feed and he can't beat nobody up. But I'm like, what if somebody makes a joke towards him and he doesn't like him, and he just snaps on them? What do we do then? Do we cut the person off? Do we stop the lot? So, but they got. Oh, okay. It's just Chris now.
Okay.
I feel very awkward. I don't like this.
This is the Chris show.
This is why I sat in the back of the classroom during school. I don't like this.
Fuck it, we're doing it live.
This is really weird. I have voices in my head enough. I don't need identifiable ones that
he is the great and powerful Chris. Don't pay no mind to the voices behind him.
Well,
you probably shouldn't say shit like that and cater to my ego. That would be bad.
We're gonna power through here, guys, and we're gonna continue on.
Nate?
He.
Oh, there we go.
Nate completely broke his shit.
Yeah, literally. I got a blue screen.
Oh no.
He got the B-sod.
Well, we were just talking about Kevin Nash. I had
to get into the StreamYard account through another computer and let myself in.
So you were let in.
I was let in, and this cat still hasn't shut up.
Right. But real quick, before we move on to all the fun festivities and stuff, what you were saying about Kevin Nash about being worried if someone said something or whatever else, I wouldn't be the kind of guy that want to trade barbs with Kevin Nash.
No, not at all.
The dude is quick.
But you also got to remember, we're in the age of social
bullying,
toughness, to where you can say whatever the hell you want because I can get where Archie's coming from. You'd get that one guy,
right?
That it's still real to me. Damn it, the things he can say on top of it, going, it's still real to me, and it's not like he could drive to Minnesota, Kansas to kick my ass.
Right. No, everybody was good. Everybody enjoyed it.
And right before the guy hits enter for his comment to piss Kevin Nash off, he asks his mom if his Star Wars betting is watched.
Right. Right. Mom, we want
did you make
meatloaf?
Mom, did you make my toaster strudels?
I don't know if Nate went to go check his Star Wars betting or on meatloaf. He just got up.
I mean, both is,
both is the right answer.
So,
Nate would be the guy that has like Darth Vader meatloaf. So I should probably. Oh, hi Nate. I didn't say anything mean.
I just wanted to get rid of that cat. All right.
Told you it was called a Chinese place.
The virtual meet and greets though go on every Saturday. Like I said, we got Sabu this week. Next week we've got a big name coming in, Road Warrior Animal. Like I said, we have got so many different names. Vicky Guerrero is on deck in the next couple of weeks, which that's someone. I mean, someone's probably going to hear this and be like, "Why do you care about Vicky Guerrero?" Because I want to learn about Eddie Guerrero. Exactly. I want to hear about Eddie and what he went through on the road and what was going on and how they got that storyline with Ray that Dominic wasn't Ray's son. So.
Think about it. Vicky Guerrero has worked with a lot of great top stars, the last 10 years. John Cena, The Rock. I mean,
Taker, Edge.
Exactly. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
So, of course, they brought back In Your House.
Yes.
And I personally enjoyed the fact that they played it old school.
I love
brought back Todd Pettengill.
Did he give away a house?
He joked about it.
Yeah,
he did joke about it though. William Regal saying promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Yeah, fantastic. I really enjoyed the opening video, the way they did it old school with that music and the white like they used to do in the videos in the mid '90s. I thought it was really the production of it. It was fun, but it wasn't stupid. It wasn't like pokey.
Did they do like the old block screen wipes and everything?
During the breaks, when they would go when William Regal would say promotional consideration paid for by the following, they'd go to the ice cream bar commercial and it would do that screen wipe and it was like wow.
And I
definitely want to watch it.
Yeah, they had Adam Cole do an Ico Pro.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Commercial.
They shot it the same way as the Brett one when he walked along with the camera with the belt, and he pretty much did the exact same lines too. It was really fun. It was fun.
Yeah. They do a great thing when Johnny Gargano comes out, because he comes out through the actual set, like it's supposed to be his house, and he comes out and he stops and there's a picture of Doc Hendricks sitting on there.
You know why they did that, right?
Yeah.
You heard why or no?
Yeah.
Yeah. Supposedly Triple H went to Michael P.S. Hayes and dude, cut your hair and please be Doc Hendricks tonight. And Michael P.S. Hayes spazzed out and said, "Fuck no." He said, "I'll do it once, but I did it once, but I'll never do it again."
But still, it was a fun.
See, right then, if Hendricks said no, Hunter should have just said, "We'll just get you on a plane again, and it'll happen."
Yeah. Right.
We'll get you on a plane with Sean. You'll come back with no hair.
But yeah, the set design, Chris, was actually the In Your House set.
A little bigger than the original, but it was perfect. Yeah. It was perfect.
I mean, it was a little modernized, but it was. I mean, they did a really good job with it, I thought.
And you're telling me all this stuff. I haven't seen it, and what makes me sad is I'm just thinking how much of a pop that would have got from a live audience, like our age demographic, if we were.
Oh yeah.
Think about it. If the We Can't Wrestle staff would have been able to go to this, and the five of us, as soon as we walked into the arena and seen that set, there wouldn't have been a match yet. We'd have already been going. This is awesome.
I was, man.
I was on my couch going.
That's what I mean.
I was in my bed.
That's why I'm really hating this. That's why I'm really hating this situation right now, because the set that you guys are talking about, because like I said, I haven't watched it. The debuts that have happened between WWE, NXT, and AEW that have all been just squandered because of the situation going on right now.
Can you imagine what would have happened if the Revival would have pulled up a couple weeks ago on AEW with 20,000 people?
Right.
What kind of pop they would have got, because nobody really knew they didn't have a no-compete clause?
Honestly, that's the only reason I did my best to catch up with AEW, because I heard FTR showed up and I was like,
Right.
Watch.
They do not have a contract yet, by the way.
No, they were on. From what I read just a couple days ago, they're still on handshake only.
Mm-hmm. They confirmed that. I listened to their interview with Cornette today, actually, and they did confirm that they're not actually officially under contract yet, but working towards that.
But I mean, how weird would it be if they all of a sudden bolted and went to NWA? I don't think that would happen. They got to give them a contract.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I thought they'd have done better at NWA.
For a little while, I thought they should have went there for 6 months and maybe transitioned to go into AEW.
But,
it shouldn't have been right away.
And here's the thing: maybe they don't have a contract yet, and they're working on a handshake because they're going to go and work some of these other places before they come back and inevitably get to the match that everybody wants to see.
They even mentioned that in their interview with Cornette. They said if we would have a contract right now with AEW, we wouldn't even be able to do the show. You know, it's giving them the freedom to do what they want to do, and those guys deserve that because WWE treated them like shit.
Right. I'm not gonna lie. A while back, Cornette said in an interview they were the one guys that he would love to manage.
Yeah, he would love to.
If there was a bridge that he had not fucking blew, because Cornette doesn't burn bridges. He straps a metric ton of C4 to that shit and just plunges it. But if there was a place that he could go with them,
Birdie is the epitome of I don't give a fuck.
Right?
Yeah. But can you imagine just the holy shit again from like our age demographic of Cornette coming out with FTR?
I would love to have seen him come out on a stage with the racket and then just been like, "Ladies and gentlemen, my newest acquisitions," and just had them walk through the door. That would have been perfect.
If anything, imagine him coming out to a stage with the racket and just keeping it by his side and talking and everything, and then just when he gets done, flips it and there's hashtag FTR on the racket cover.
Right.
Oh my God, people would flip their shit.
Definitely.
And Kyle just sat up there with that smug smile. Like, I don't know if that's a yes, I would, or
Yeah.
You know, the thing of it is, though, too, there's so much they can do with those two guys.
To see that happen, but
Corny's never going to work for AEW. That's not going to happen.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't like any of the buddy that works.
I'd love to see that.
He's not going to be able to work anywhere.
Right.
He's not going to go to AEW. Company. He can't go back to NWA. He's definitely not going to go back to the E because of Hunter.
He won't go back to TNA or Impact, whatever it's called.
He's not He's not going back to Impact. He can't go back to MLW.
Nope.
Yeah.
What's
he's going to restart Smoky
Mountain. Can he go back to Ring of Honor?
No.
Okay, so
he shit all over the guy who owns it, whatever his name is.
Yeah. So really, all that's left is like some Japanese fed.
No, he's going to restart Smoky Mountain, but he's going to use a Confederate flag and he's going to make it the most racist company he can. New Jack's going to be back out there beating up white people and yelling the N-word.
The six women tag team match was kind of a spot fest, whatever.
I hate that fucking Tank.
You don't like? All right, I hate the Tank, but you don't like Shotzi Blackwell.
Oh, I love her. I'm like, you look like a fucking idiot inside this tiny little tank. Like you look like you look like me getting drunk and trying to get into Power Wheels.
No,
it's
you know what I was gonna say, Kyle.
I was gonna say like you getting drunk and doing an hour and a half Facebook Live broadcast.
Yeah, but we love that. That was fun.
That was the first and only edition of Live on Nate's Porch.
He says first and last for that month.
For that month. We already talked about promotional consideration paid for by the following, which was great.
Perfect. Was spot on.
Damian Priest and Finn Balor, I thought they had a really good match.
It reminded me of a Razor Ramon versus 1-2-3 Kid. I'll be honest. That's what they were trying to hype it as. Because he hit the Razor's edge. He was playing the bigger man role, but then Finn Balor being Finn Balor showed why he is who he is.
That stair spot was sick. That bump that Priest took on the stairs was sick.
And that was the perfect bump to do. Because think about it. If you go back and watch, you couldn't have asked for a better landing as far as him like on his back.
He landed on
that, right. But the fact is that because it was, a closed set and you only had a few fans there, the NXT,
and
underclass or whatever, that fans, that resounding sound when he hit that steel steps made it just
sounded
sound
like a shotgun
1,000 times
Boom.
worse.
Yeah, it was like my butt hurts now. Just
God, it was amazing.
And then the announcer immediately, Mauro Ranallo, he can't breathe. And when you look at him, he could not catch his breath. He really wasn't able to breathe. And I was like, damn.
God,
As a side note, I really like Mauro, but I don't like Mauro for 3 hours.
No, he's too much for 3 hours.
Mamma Mia! I can't hear Mamma Mia 74,000 times. And I like Mauro on the TV show. I like Mauro for an hour on the TV show with some breaks and etc. But Mauro for 3 hours is just too much. I don't know. He's like Chris Cruz on speed.
It's
they need to move him over and have somebody else be the main guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing: he doesn't know how to. He doesn't have an off button. They tried that. They moved him over. And
I know.
Nigel McGuinness was the main focal point.
When they tried to move Tom Phillips into the primary role, all Mauro did was talk over him the whole time.
Which is why Corey Graves. I don't know if everybody remembers. Like 6 months ago, Corey Graves tweeted out, "You wouldn't know it, but there's 2 great announcers right now announcing their ass off for this show," and he meant it about Beth Phoenix and Nigel McGuinness. And then Mauro Ranallo had to take a 3-week break because his anxiety got to him that somebody made fun of him. Now, I'm not making fun of anybody's anxiety. I understand that. But he's not very critical when it comes to somebody telling him, hey, you're doing the same thing over and over again. Stop a little.
Criticism.
The only issue I have with that is we all know that those guys have someone in their ear at all times.
Right.
So how much is that? How much is that actually Moralo on his own, or is it just him getting fed?
Oh no, I'm sure they're encouraging him to be him.
Definitely.
Like honestly, the only thing I have against Moralo is if the network's still a thing in 3 or 4 years from now, you go watch any NXT show, it's going to be so dated because of his commentary, because he is so adamant about tying in like pop culture references and and
if nobody laughs or
if
nobody makes a comment about them, he has to comment about them himself.
Yeah,
like he did it during In Your House. He made a joke about the WWE ice cream bars, and nobody said anything for a minute. So he went, "Hey, Beth, did you like my lead into the ice cream bars?" And she went, "Yeah, that was really funny, Mauro." Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's my biggest issue about him is he's horrendous. In my opinion, he's horribly dating the product with his commentary because of the pop culture.
It's like when Vince would want to do live commentary during Raws back in the early 90s. They talk about topical things, and you go back now and you watch it, and you're like, oh, they're bringing up that one of the Fat Boys died. Like, why does that matter in a wrestling show? It doesn't. Yeah.
Yes, but I will. This is where I will give him credit and the NXT commentators credit. When I hear Michael Cole talk about something that has nothing to do with the match, it pisses me off. At least the NXT commentary team stays on the match. You know what I mean? They talk about the match. But when you hear Michael Cole, and on Twitter last week, and it's like, really, Michael, we don't need to hear about Twitter. There's an actual 5-star classic going on.
And that's exactly what I say. I don't hate Mauro. I just, he gets rough for 3 hours.
Right. At the 2-hour mark, you're like, I need a break.
Mauro Ranallo comes on TV and does the intro to a show, and I'm excited.
Right.
Because Michael Cole comes on, and he's like, welcome to Monday Night Raw. I'm Michael Cole, and let's all suffer together.
Mauro is the Billy Mays of professional entertainment.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Which means you would buy anything that Billy Mays told you because he is the best hype man ever.
I have
if there was like an hour and a half to 2 hour Billy Mays infomercial, you'd have been like, fuck you saying?
Yeah.
Wow, click. Kyle
Trevor,
just looks pissed.
Is
I
he
think
frozen?
I think he froze. Either that or he is really good at holding his breath. Oh, I saw
He's
eyes
like-
blink. Kyle, are you there? Let me try to take him out and bring him back in again. See what-
Can I poke him too? Nate,
It'd
No,
be great if
seatbelt
Nate would have got
popped
into it. It was like,
Tonight's show just brought with. Man, this
Nate?
sucks. If my computer's
Nate,
really
I'm going to punch you.
why?
Nate, your
You
feet
did not
belt
spend
just
that
jumped.
much money on that belt.
No,
No,
I
we
didn't.
didn't.
I
We
wanted
won
him
the
to
raffle.
sell them.
Okay,
You
I
won
was
the
going to
raffle.
say, I'm that guy. Whoever spent that much money on that belt, and I love Bray. If you spent that much money on the belt, you just need slapped.
No. He thought he won the $1 million title, though, but he ended up getting that belt.
Yeah, and then I just decided to give up and get the $1 million title.
Oh, Jesus.
I
That's a
wanted it.
spending spree.
Yeah,
Like,
I wanted.
I kind of want to collect belts, but given my collection, I don't have room.
Neither do I.
You're shaking your head at that. That's just my chapters 1 and 2 collection.
Damn.
The WWE ones that I do have, the wrestling ones I do have, are an entire wall already.
Kyle, can you hear us, Kyle?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, I can hear
Yeah,
you.
can you make some movement? Because you were frozen like this.
You got frozen on piss face. Yeah, you were pissed off.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I was trying to get through and say, to me, I think Beth Phoenix is probably one of the best. She's like a female Larry Zbyszko.
You know what's crazy? It's funny that you said that, and it wasn't at the pay-per-view. I think it was the last TV show, the last NXT TV show, maybe. But I was actually thinking when she first entered the broadcast booth, I didn't know what to expect, and now I actually found a couple of weeks ago. I think it was a couple of weeks ago, thinking she's better. She's a better option than Renee Young.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Beth's really good at what she does.
Renee Young is very repetitive and will say the same things like, "Oh God, oh my God, oh no."
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and Beth actually adds to the commentary team.
And
Beth has
she's been in the ring.
in-ring.
Yep.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I'm not going to lie. My opinion, Beth shocked me when they put her behind the table because, in my personal opinion, she wasn't good really on the promo aspect of her career.
Mm-hmm. And it may be one of those things where they didn't let her.
But you know what I mean, though? When she wasn't good at promos, and then when I found out they were putting her behind the table, I was like,
right, what's about to happen?
She couldn't talk well for 3 minutes. You're going to put her out there for 2 hours? Oh,
Right.
oh.
Yeah, but she shocked everybody. She shocked everybody.
She has been
actually knows.
She's been a pleasant surprise, really, I think.
Definitely. Definitely.
We've got 12 minutes left. Lee and Gargano. I like both of them. They did not mesh well to me.
You don't think so?
No.
Really?
Johnny, it's not that they didn't mesh well. Johnny Gargano as a heel is bad. It's not believable. It should be Lee that should have been the heel, not Johnny Gargano.
You know what? And I agree, because the whole time watching it, I was like, man, the roles are reversed.
Right.
But I think for what it was, for the fact that
it was a good
Gargano
match.
was the bad guy, and Keith Lee's the good guy. They didn't do it to me anything that was unbelievable.
Right.
Because everything that Johnny Gargano did to get one up on Keith Lee was by kind of baiting him in. And I love that shit heel when when Keith Lee would have him and you get him wrapped up, he'd be like, I'm sorry, please.
Right, no, he played the shit scared heel perfectly, but not the tough guy heel.
Right. Which, like I said, here's the problem. Like with Johnny Gargano, when you look at him against Keith Lee, how the hell do you make him the tough guy heel?
Right, but Lee should be the monster, is my point.
Right.
If you're going to make Lee can't be a teddy bear who gets poked in the eye and goes, ow. Lee is supposed to be the guy destroying people with that pounce.
And that's what I was going to say to me was the plus about the match. Although I didn't necessarily think they meshed well, I think the right guy went over.
I agree.
For the two competitors that were in the match, even though I like Johnny a lot, first of all, I don't think he needs the title.
No,
and secondly, I think it's good for Keith to look dominant, that as he should be.
In all fairness, though, Johnny's entire career, hasn't he? Like we said about Moxley last time I was on the show, to me, apparently it's a John thing. They're better when they're chasing.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
That's why I think that, and I know this goes back
every belt that Gargano's won, once he's won it, don't get me wrong, the crowd and the fan base are so rejoiced when he finally pulls it off.
Right.
But once he gets it, it's just like when you blow up that balloon that you've been waiting for all the time, and then you forget to tie it, and it just goes.
Well, and I have said that for years. That's why I think that, although, my opinion, he's the best guy to ever lace the boots bell to bell, that's why I don't think Shawn Michaels was ever a huge draw, because he was that guy too. I think Shawn was always the guy that was better as the chase than he was as the champion. To me.
Except for his last run, I'll agree with you. When he won the title during Hell in a Cell for that 2 months and then lost it back to Triple H, that was a good run for him. But every other run during the early 90s, mid-90s, whatever, Shawn was not a drawing champion.
Yeah, it was more fun to watch him chase it than it was to actually watch him be the champion.
Right.
Cole and Dream, the less said, the better. I love both of these guys, but this was another movie.
I didn't mind it, though, Nate.
Real quick, before we move on, the thing I did enjoy real quick about Keith Lee was the fact that he kept selling his hand.
Yes.
The entire match. Like, that was great psychology.
He sold perfectly.
Exactly. As far as that, I was into it. Man, I was super excited about Cole versus Dream. I was like, this is going to be amazing.
And at least it ended in a wrestling ring.
It did, but they lost me when the fucking Uber driver showed up.
Yeah. Anybody order an Uber?
That
poor girl's going to debut in 3 months in NXT, and we're all going to be like, fuck her.
What an Uber bitch.
Yeah.
I'm still at the crossroads where I find it hard to see Dream as a face.
Yeah.
Well, he's a tweener. He's not really a face. He's a tweener. But here's my problem, my fear for him. They don't see him as a top champion caliber wrestler.
I don't either. I see him mid-card.
I'll be honest, I do too. But, if they were going to do that, then either keep the North American title on him or move him up and let him battle for the Intercontinental title. Don't make him sit there in purgatory and losing to every match. That's the way you got to let him win sometime. My only problem with the whole backlot brawl was the Undisputed Era should not have been involved.
No.
I don't think they should. In that kind of atmosphere, there should have been somebody in place to stop them from getting involved. Security guards, other wrestlers, something.
Well, because now, here's the big thing. Because, if it had, the stipulation hadn't been, if Dream loses, then he can't challenge for the title as long as Cole's had it, then we'd be like, oh, they're going to go into a cage.
Right.
But now the problem is you have that stipulation, so now, okay, fine.
Right.
But now Dream just looks like a goober.
And Cole is about to get called up soon, they're saying. He's one of the next call-ups, so who does he
I don't want him to be, honestly.
Neither do I. I'm really afraid, and especially if they don't bring up the entire Undisputed Era, because then you're shitting on the other 3 guys.
Well, it's not only that. He's going to get shit if he... I'm even looking at it as the fact that UE together coming up to the main roster, and we know how Vince is. They're too small.
Right.
Vince ain't going to do jack shit with them. I mean, honestly, do you guys know why Finn is back on NXT? Do you honestly know why? Did you?
He begged Triple H to put him back on NXT.
No.
Why?
Vince was going to put him on 205.
Oh, yeah.
And it was Hunter.
Yeah,
Hunter stood up and was like,
my kids.
he was like, no, you're going to put him on NXT or I'm going to let him go.
Yep.
Hunter flat out said, he's like, no, you're not wasting him on 205. You either give him back to me or I'm signing his release and letting him go.
Yep.
So what do you think's going to happen? And what do you think's going to happen to all the UE?
Well, I guarantee you they're going to try to put O'Reilly in 205. Roderick Strong will get mixed up in a feud with like the Lucha House Party where they're constantly beating him up 3-on-1. And Cole will probably get fed to Brock Lesnar.
Like, I honestly don't want to see the Undisputed Era. Like,
No,
I want to see them get called up. It's that, like, I remember back when pretty much the Ascension screwed any NXT call up for the rest of time.
We're better than Legion of Doom, Demolition, and every other tag team. What? You just got here.
I
never, ever want Adam Cole to go to the main roster until Triple H is in charge.
Yep. Now, you were asking earlier. You said who can beat Adam Cole for it? I think there's two guys that could beat him. It's either going to end up being what the hell is it? Killer Cross.
Okay.
Karrion
Cross. Now.
Is that a shot at Jesus? Because Jesus was carrying a cross.
No.
Anyway.
No, they threw a dart at the dartboard again.
Karrion Cross or Keith Lee?
I think it's going to be
I'm not going to lie. I just watched, like...
Balor.
He needs to be because...
I think Cross destroys Ciampa to the point where they let Ciampa disappear for a little while, and then he ends up on the main roster because Vince is probably going to want him on the main roster.
Ciampa flat out has said...
No, he said, I don't want to go. I know.
Yeah, he said, if you put me on main roster, I quit.
I leave, right. But I think that Cross will destroy Ciampa and whoever else they put in his way. In the meantime, Finn wins the title, and that's what the next feud is Finn versus Cross.
And honestly, I see Tommaso being the kind of guy that they try to call him up, and he will. I see him being the next Neville, to be quite honest.
Right.
Vince tries to call him up, and Tommaso's like, "I'm gonna go home."
Yeah.
I've got like 3.5 years left on this contract. I'm gonna go home.
Right.
Neville lost all of his stand up for myself credibility when he sold for Orange Cassidy, though. But anyway,
we heard that before. We know that.
I know. Till I puke, I will say.
I promise you.
I'm gonna get you an Orange Cassidy beach towel.
I promise you both.
Wipe my ass with it.
The day that I meet Nate Maxson face to face, I'm going to be wearing acid wash jeans, an acid wash jean jacket, sunglasses with my hair, whatever hair I have, slicked back, and I'm going to walk up to him and I'm going to lightly kick him in the shin and then run away.
You want to make it better?
Hey, what's up?
wear an acid wash jean jacket with one wing on the back of it.
There you go. There you go.
And do this,
right?
And then orange kick him in the shin.
He's gonna think I'm waving, but I'm really doing jazz hands. Hi, Nate.
And then you can sweep him up with a broom.
Now, I have a question about in your house. Wasn't the tag team titles meant to be on the show?
I would think so.
Imperium was supposed to fight Breezango?
I thought so.
No. When Breezango won that match on the show, they did the very vague. They won a championship match in the near future.
Yeah, but they announced Imperium versus what's their names? The weird Oni Lorcan and David Birch or whatever, Danny Birch for the pay-per-view, and then they did that number one contenders match. So is it possible Imperium went back to the UK and can't travel now?
I don't know.
So I didn't even know Fandango was back because I knew he blew his shit when he came back.
He's back and dancing better than ever.
Just like Jinder just came back and already blew his shit up, and he's back out again.
Yeah, he's out again for I think he said 3 or 4 months.
We're getting awful close to the end, guys. Here, let's talk real quick. Why does Vince McMahon hate Rhea Ripley?
He doesn't.
I agree with
you.
Huh?
This wasn't Vince.
you're gonna sit here and tell me that Vince McMahon didn't have his greedy little fucking hands in on this with the whole Dream and Cole match?
Everything I've read, he leaves NXT alone. He lets Triple H do his thing.
Right. Well, I'm going to say it goes like this. They wanted Charlotte to enhance the title a little more and pass it on to Io Shirai because Io, she's beautiful. I don't care. She's one of the most gorgeous women I've ever seen.
Io, Cleveland, Ohio.
Right.
Anyway, sorry.
She was threatening to leave if she didn't get some kind of push. So I think they had to give her the title, and now they'll put her versus Rhea Ripley and battle for the title for a couple of months.
Which is fine because Charlotte just needs to stay on one fucking brand. I'm tired of seeing her on three shows.
Explain this. They allowed her to lose to Io or Io. I'm sorry, Chris. But then she comes back to beat Asuka the next night on Raw. Really?
Well, now it shows, like, to me, the fact is the NXT Women's Championship isn't worth anything.
No.
Because Charlotte's like, well, I lost it. Bye. I'm going to Raw. Oh, look, I'm getting the chance to challenge for the Raw.
If they change Asuka and Nia Jax to a triple threat match to bring Charlotte in, guys.
Why is Nia Jax still employed? Sorry, I had to get that out.
Because Nyla Rose is still employed in AEW, so they need another person.
They need to change Nia Jax's name to Nia Ability. All right, that was a terrible.
No, it was good. I liked it.
But she is a Nia Ability, really.
She really is.
All right, guys. I'm gonna, I guess, spend an hour trying to see if I have to buy a new laptop tomorrow.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, because this thing just crashed on me, but. You guys, thank you for persevering while I was dealing with that. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Chris, any parting words tonight?
Just my usual. Make sure you show love to your wrestlers that you like, especially like the indie guys right now because they're struggling. And show them love. Get on Pro Wrestling Tees, Teespring, wherever they got their merch. Show them love. Help them get through this time because there's a lot of indie promotions right now that don't know if they're going to make it back. Yep. And per usual, like what you like, love what you love. Don't be a dick.
Kyle?
All I want to say real quick is that, right now with everything going on, there's a lot of, people in the whole Black Lives Matter movement and everything else. All I ask is for all those people out there, please, in 2 months, don't let this become another, trending thing where you just forgive and forget about it. I believe that we are on the route to actually bring change in this country, which is sad that it's 2020 and we're still having these conversations. But let's not just let this fizzle out. Mm-hmm. Let's actually change stuff, guys. Don't forget,
Amen.
It's up to each and every one of us. If we see injustice and wrong being done, we need to stand up and say something about it. So Absolutely. Don't, in 2 months, let's not, we moved on to this next thing.
Right.
Mr. Mitchell.
Wasn't a fan.
I agree with everything Kyle and Chris said. Check out the virtual shows. Continue to support wrestling in no matter what form. Continue to support your communities, your families. Check on everybody because we're still in the middle of COVID. No matter what people say that it's over, it's not. Mm-hmm. Be safe. And the Lord loves a working man. And if you get it, see a doctor and get rid of
it. And I will say we are this week officially, actually Thursday, we're going to start taping segments for episode 100. Ooh. I am very excited about episode 100 coming up.
I am too.
And I want to thank you guys for joining us. We are the admins. I'm going to have everybody submit some names to me for this show. We're going to put up a poll and let you guys vote on what the name is. To kind of what Archie and Chris and Kyle were all saying, and I will put this kind of the way I think Kyle was trying to go with it. Equality, justice, and humans loving and treating humans like humans should never be a news cycle in this country. What's Amen. Going on right now, a lot of people want to make it a polarizing thing. And yes, there are insurfers who have come into these protests and stuff and started looting and riots, and that's not cool. They're not what the message is. The message is it's time to stop the injustice. It's time for us all to be equal. And I'm actually going to end this show with a comment from one of our viewers, Juan Legacy Rosari. I love this. We are all one blood.
Amen.
Is the truth. Amen. Thank you all for joining us on We Can't Wrestle. Wait, on Sports Entertainment Live. And I'm going to pray for my computer, and we'll see you guys next time around. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Thanks, guys.